That was a very sad ending. But we're at the statistics again. Desperation removed Lee's arm. I don't, to be honestly, think it would work. Sure, it was probably not too long after we last episode when I got bitten, but it probably took a while for us to get to that place. You and 28% didn't remove the arm. I guess most people wanted to have a chance to survive, but I feel like it would be a death sentence to cut that arm off even earlier. I mean, the pain, the blood loss, I would not have two arms to fight with, to hold on ledges. It's just stupid, and I wouldn't want to cut my arm off. I mean, I'd rather get a bullet through my brain. Um, so that's a bit why I didn't. Um, I mean, I knew I was dead either way, but I think it was more effective to keep it. Fallout lost temper. You and 74% of the players lost your temper with Kenny. I mean, yeah, it's. I found it hard options to remain cool, but he was really getting on my nerves and just constantly getting mad at everything. You need to keep calm, even though everything is going to hell, quite literally. I mean, first is family, then we lose people, then I got bitten, we lose the boat. He found about Ben, what he did, Ben's family. It's too much, and it's too much for everyone. So yeah, it's very easy to get angry. And a psychiatrist would say that you have some kind of disease in your head, but actually it's quite simple and natural to get angry. It happens when you get pressured eventually. Even Ben lost his cool. Disarmed. Gave up weapons. You and 59% of the players surrendered your weapons. I think at that point, that guy, he sounded like a intelligent person, and he probably would have what was I going to say? He was probably gonna see through the lie. So I thought, yeah, it's stupid. And let's just be calm and see if we can get some kind of diplomatic solution to the problem, even though I didn't think, but it's worth trying. Why kill more people than has already been killed? Stranger killed Clementine's captor. You and 42% of the players killed the stranger. Oh, wow. I didn't think it was possible to spare him. So well, I guess it was the only way to remain truly safe, but maybe you could have saved him and even changed his mind about things, that killing people wouldn't be the answer to keep people safe. Kind of disproved myself there. Well, at the moment it seemed only right. I even pressed Q afterwards when it didn't say gave prompt you to press Q. So I really strangled him to death. It's really sad for him the way things turned out, and wife was the only thing he had left. So when he found her on the road, I guess he wanted to keep something to keep reminding of her. But I'm this faithful man that believes on the soul. So I believe his wife was never there. It was just her body. Her soul probably left when she died, or maybe even before she died. What was left was her body, and that's not his wife. That's not the woman he married. That's what was left. It's just a husk. It's empty. It's nothing. It's a monster. Parasite. I don't know what to call it. It's not even parasite. It's a rotten subject that goes to kill anything. Like that lady at the motoring said, it's diabolical. It's satanic. It's just pure evil almost. Well, not evil necessarily, but a spawn of evil. Something had to cause all of this trouble, and it was certainly not the will of a good man to cause it, or it was just a horrible misunderstanding of chemicals and mysterious science. Goodbye. Stop to leave from turning. You and 36 of the players told Clementine to leave Lee. There's several reasonings behind this. Like I said, you don't want her to shoot you because it would make noise. You don't want her to shoot everyone she loves and cares just because it's a risk of someone, ending up turning, or like it's a dead end with that guy anyway. Being merciless, it's you destroy humanity in that kind of way. Meanwhile, it might save the next person getting in there. I mean, they might not notice me and get bitten or something like that. Though I'm jailed, talk about returning to prison. I'm chained up and should not be able to rip that. What's it called now? I'm supposed to know this. Because you say element in Swedish, but the fine word like addition instead of plus and minus and subtraction, it's the English word. It's something on R. Can I figure it out? Not refrigerator. It's God, I have to give up because of the video length. Maybe it will come up to me later. So I think normally it's probably better to shoot someone. I mean, like the boy, Duck. I hate to shoot him, but he would turn and maybe he would bite someone who wouldn't notice running by or something. And well, it would be horrible to leave him in the woods, but I'm not sure mercy is shooting someone. And now you might think, why didn't you shoot the girl in the street? You said it's no mercy. It's not merciful to shoot someone, but in that moment we were able to actually save ourselves and maybe people in our group by getting more provisions. So it's always, these tough calls you have to make, and we could also have just failed miserably and turned up 2 more zombies, so shooting her would end up adding 1 more zombie to the world, because -1 and, well, yeah, because you shoot her and then she's out of the equation. Yeah. Stupid math. So yeah, I think telling her to leave me was the correct decision. And she had just seen her parents as zombies, and you know, I sort of knew from the beginning it would turn up because, well, I played through this game once already, but I think well, through the clues and what you heard on the first video recording at her house, you could probably guess that she's dead. And well, their parents, it's just not one mom, it's a father also, and he was quite chewed up at his waist. So she's quite traumatized, and you don't want to keep traumatizing her, because who knows, maybe she gets out and just falls down crying and gets surrounded by zombies. So I think it was the best decision, both morally and for safety, at least hers. So I think this is big decision factors of the characters. So she was probably gonna shoot herself either way. Well, you can take your time reading those, and if I click too fast, just pause, go back to this section and pause. Yeah, Ben could turn up. I did trust her with my past. It was just when I had two choices. At the moment, probably not the most urgent because he had planks protecting him. But I thought like, oh, I have to try to help him first and get to her. But obviously she was in the same kind of position. It's a lot of things grayed out. Oh, it's maybe actual things that did happen, and it's just grayed out as to keep it easier to read, perhaps. There's a season 2, so these things might take effect in the coming season. And there might be a season after that, and probably will be, because I don't see why not. It has been very exciting. But maybe they want to end on a high point. Well, this is not quite the full ending of the game. There's downloadable content that is known as DLC. Basically, it's a smaller kind of expansion. Sometimes it's just skins, sometimes it's more gameplay, and sometimes it's more skins. Things for the company to gain extra money and maybe make some extra content for the game. But not call it expansion, because expansion is a big... a lot of more things that adds to the game, maybe another storyline. What these are is the called 400 Day series. It takes different characters and sounds a little about like Dido. But anyway, it's a few more characters during the span of 400 days, and then they meet up and they will be shows. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but anyways, there's more, and I think I'm gonna make parts after this. Not sure what I'm gonna call it, but probably 400 something Walking Dead. I'll add it to the playlist so you'll find it. It's really hard to talk with this music. Gonna lower the volume for me. You should be able to hear it in the same kind of volume. It has been quite a game. I had had, especially in this episode, I think this was the hardest by far, especially not to disturb the dramatic sequences that were. There were indeed decisions that I regretted to make in this game. Killing the guy in the end, I mean, I don't want to prove my points to make, like I said, I don't want to kill people as I don't think it's right most of the time, and well, he had it coming, sort of, but yeah, I sort of regret that at the end, but it happened, and oh, here's something. Oh, now it's silent again. So, to recap this game and discuss it further, if you want to stay up for that, my experience through it, I don't remember what part I was on, but I was on making choices. There were probably more choices I regretted that I made in this game, and I probably said it afterwards, maybe some minutes sometimes. I remember those moments. Can't say specifically right now what I'm thinking at. Usually smaller ones. I think I made most the big decisions correct, and that's the sort of beauty with these kinds of games. You make decisions, and sometimes, if it's a good game, it can actually make decisions that you wouldn't normally make if you had time to think. But when you're stressed out and have a time to make choices, you make something fast, and you know, it could be anything. You might do something horrible, stupid, and it could also be something better than you normally would have thought of. So it's really quite exciting that it gives you that kind of environment, because usually people tries to get these kind of perfect endings where everyone survives and you get pitch perfect relationships with people, but that's the kind of thing. You should have problems, because you're probably not a perfect person yourself. I mean, imagine yourself in real life. You're probably not in the perfect terms with everyone you meet. And that's the exact thing that happens here. You come into tough positions, and you make some people mad, you make some people happy, and some people will, you know, trust you, and some people will think you're a fucking douchebag no matter what you do. And some people might come to the terms that you're actually a good guy. So we did have some fallout with people this episode, this season rather to call it. We had 5 episodes. The fifth one was a bit shorter, but it's like my videos. I try to cut them in 20 minutes each, but sometimes not to make one part too long. I made a mistake with the last episode in episode 2 part. I mean, it was 56 minutes rather than 40 than I counted it to. Because sometimes you don't want to cut out in the middle of the action, like Hobbits 2 when the dragon was going to fly to death. So I rather make sometimes a bit longer episodes than rather just cutting 20, 20, 20, 13 exactly, something like that. So I try to make the most cinematic correction, or whatever to call it. The first episode was probably the easiest. Then you probably noticed if you watched through all of them. And well, it had, I think I mentioned it in episode 2, you had the fight system. It's also based on time, and you can make mistakes there. Usually people don't like these things when they're prompted to like press Q to hit and then press A, like in Battlefield campaign. It doesn't feel like a classic game where you had your controls and you were not affected in any other sort of way. But I think it's rather more correct in this type of game, because here you're affected psychologically, you're affected by stress, time factor, and I mean, if you're in a real situation, you have your legs, you have your hands, you have your head, and well, not that it's always the same thing. I think they try to make it rather similar, like when you're gonna hit someone, you press it on their face. If you're gonna use an item, you click on the item. They try to have patterns on how to react in situations. But I mean, if you hit with your left arm, that is, for example, for the moment paralyzed, then you should be punished for it if you try to use left click rather than right click, if they would have a system like that. So that's something to think about. But I think it adds to the element of play that you can actually make silly mistakes in fights. Also, it can confuse you and make it really angry. Though I have it quite easy with these types of situations. Yes, I failed a couple of times, and I'm probably gonna edit out one of the fails I did when we were going on that killing spree in the streets to the hotel, just to make the video go smoother and make it look better. Usually I want to make sure that you know how many times I failed, but I think this last episode it's a little bit more special than the others, just because it's the conclusion of the very first season. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil any more than I did about 400 days, but what more can I say? If I would recommend this game, yes, definitely. Not if you're the most sensitive person, but I think this game has value. It puts you in rather tough spots. It might help you actually learn something about people rather than just killing people. And I think most people would enjoy this. Should not be any minors though, because it's quite grueling choices you have to make that no child should have to make, though you should not spoil them and think the world is a safe place, because it isn't. And well, I think the game is brilliant. I normally don't like zombie games, but this game, it's probably one of my favorite games, so I'd probably rate it 5 stars out of 5 or 10 stars out of 10, because I think gameplay is fantastic. I think the choices are good. I mean, most of the time you got the choices you want to make. And yeah, I think Season 1 is a brilliant game, and I'm not sure if I don't think I have presented presented the game developers. I think they're called Telltale Games. Yeah, telltalegames.com. You should definitely watch if they made more games. It's really fascinating. I will probably make more of these playthroughs in the future. It's brilliant, in my opinion. You probably can see through the game here. I made it in one way. You maybe will play it and do different decisions and get different results. Probably quite similar. I mean, usually it's not too different. But there are indeed different outcomes. And like that guy I spared in the, at the end there. No, I killed. If we would have spared him, maybe he would come into play in the next season. Or maybe we would have, both me and Clementine, died in some different way if he would have come and chased after us. You don't know that, but maybe. So, and maybe Clementine wouldn't have found those people at the end. And maybe it wasn't even Krista and Omid like I think it was, because it kind of looked like them. It could have been like bandits in the... because it was quite a good spot to be in. You had good sight on the entire area, and if some zombie would be walking around slowly, you would be able to easily maneuver them or charge at them to just clear the numbers. Though scientifically, I think they should have been rotten. I mean, first day you saw them rotten, but it could be the character models like I mentioned earlier in the seasons. But at some point, if we say people manage to survive, fortify themselves and not turn anyone, then these zombies should rot eventually. I mean, intestines, organs, that's usually things that decay the fastest, I think, especially in the stomach. So when you see these zombies with skulls, you think their senses would be dull and, you know, maybe go deaf, because the eardrum is very small and maybe it would stop working faster. Same thing with scent, like they're in the end. How could they tell the difference if their nose is gone? Because I think you smell in the nose a bit up, maybe, in the channels. I'm no expert, definitely not. So that's just my thoughts about it, how this zombie plague would end. It's probably some kind of virus that has been distributed through water or air or some form of way that everyone has been affected by it. And so far we only heard from America, probably spread through all of the world with this kind of story. And I think the military is a shameful one, because they should be able to walk in lines and just clear them out on daylight when they won't get ambushed by anything. But who knows? It's maybe we haven't seen it all. Maybe we have just been in the most dire locations of America, because I believe this is related to America, because Savannah, it's, well, Macon also, it's probably locations in America. And if you're American yourself, you can probably relate. And these types of environments, well, America is big, so they probably have rainforests in the southern areas and deserts in California regions and nice woody areas in the northern. Well, you can probably imagine yourself, and from what you've seen in programs. Common knowledge. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. I'm not too sure what more to say. Probably miss something, but you always do. But it's good to end at some point. and I think I've said quite a few good things here. Well, see you in the 400 parts or season 2 whenever I'm gonna make that. Probably gonna make some other games in between just to change the atmosphere to something more, perhaps more funnier, comical, brighter game than this. It has been quite dark and depressive, I mean, the decisions. So, take care and hope you enjoy this. And hope to see you in the next playthroughs I make. Goodbye and take care.